Vanessa. Welcome back to my channel. It has been kind of a minute since we've kind of sat down and did a little chat, but I thought I'd do it today since I have, well, my last video you saw me traveling home. I have been back. I've been back for a week and used the Memorial Day weekend to really just like catch up on life. And I thought I'd kind of give you guys a little bit of how I felt traveling during a pandemic and kind of what it was like for me. So if you like videos like this and you like travel type of content, because that's kind of what I'm trying to get more into and to showcase more traveling videos, more things to do around Orlando and Central Florida and really wherever I go, that travel is accessible to everyone. It's just how you do it and showing you guys ways that you can travel on a budget and you can travel to a lot of places no matter what your budget is. So just helping all of my friends out there on a budget because your girl is. So just showing what you can do and what's available out there for you. So we're gonna try to film this video. The sun is currently setting. I love that I get my second wind towards the end of the day. So we'll see if I have to change the lighting situation, but we're doing good, okay. We're doing good, okay. We're doing good right now. So let's start at the beginning. So if you may or may not know, I had to add an additional week to my traveling home. I originally was only gonna be home for a week, a little over a week, but that changed due to, if you follow me on Instagram, you guys will already know. If not, my grandfather passed away at the beginning of May 2nd, actually. So that did not really come as a surprise to all of us, but it has definitely been hard. This is the first grandparent I've ever lost, and it's very difficult because this is, like, of course I love all my grandparents, and I've been very fortunate to have all four in my life for the 27 years that I've been living. And it's crazy that I've been able to have them for so long and get to have them all in my life and involved in my life. But my grandpa, this particular grandpa, was very special to me and very special to my family. And so it hit us very hard to lose him. So, but I know he's no longer in pain. He battled cancer for years. He was diagnosed when I was a freshman in college, so that was like fall of 2012. So he was battling cancer for a very long time. So he lived a very long and happy life, and I'm happy that he is no longer in pain and he is now reunited with all of his brothers and sisters that have passed before him, his parents that have passed before him, and all his friends. So he kind of just moved from like one big group of people that loved him to another big group of people that loved him. So that's kind of what's helping me. So obviously I had to go home for all of the things that were involved with that. I had planned to get my second dose, was scheduled for the 6th, which is a Thursday. And then I was planning on flying out the following Friday to kind of give myself some time, and I only need to really be home for a week. But then when this all happened, I had to push up my flight to literally that Saturday after I got my second dose. So seeing that I didn't have a lot of symptoms from the first dose, and I was seeing that a lot of people have symptoms from the second dose, I'm like, okay, I'll be fine. Was not fine. Tried to work the day after my second dose, and I had chills, I had fever, I had body aches. I was sitting, like, of course, like, my job is sitting, and thank goodness in my job currently I'm not taking I'm in a customer service type role. I wasn't taking a ton of calls because I'm in a role, I'm trained so far that the line I'm on doesn't have a ton of calls, but it was still really difficult to do my job. So I ended up having to take a half day, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I better be able to get on this flight because I need to be home, because then that following Monday and Tuesday were the wake and funeral, and I wanted to be there with my family. I didn't want to miss any of that. And fortunate enough, I took a half day, spent the rest of the day in bed. I was able to break my fever by like the afternoon and just relax. I went to bed early, and by the next morning I felt like nothing ever happened, which is crazy. So if you have not gotten the vaccine, please do if you can, because I know there's people out there who can't, but if you can, please do. And I hope my symptoms are not something to scare you away, because really the symptoms don't last very long. And especially in younger people like myself, I'm 27 years old, it's been shown that more people who are younger get symptoms, and it can hit harder than people who are older who have been exposed to like more illnesses over their years in life of living. So really my symptoms only lasted maybe a little bit more than 24 hours, because I did start to feel them like the night of when I had my second dose. After I got the vaccine, it was fine, like that same day, but it was like, I got it like at 2 in the afternoon. By like 9 o'clock that night, I started to feel stuff, feel like not great. And I'm very in tune with my body, so I kind of knew, I'm like, okay, like let's stop, let's go lay down. I'll be fine by tomorrow. And I wasn't, but I was fine by Saturday. So really, in reality, I wasn't fully vaccinated by the time I got on the plane. And because per the CDC and per the vaccines for ages for like 16 or 17 and older, you are not fully vaccinated until 2 weeks after your vaccination. So that gives your body enough time to build the antibodies and have those ready in your system for if you were to ever be exposed to the virus, like the virus itself. So I wasn't fully vaccinated by the time I was on the plane. So that made me a little nervous. I mean, originally I wasn't going to be fully vaccinated on the flight to begin with, but I would have been closer to that. But I knew I was going to be fully vaccinated by the time of my sister's wedding, which was what was really important, because I knew I probably wasn't going to be wearing a mask. We were going to be outside. Everyone who was going to be in attendance, 90% of them would be fully vaccinated. So I just knew that day was going to be really catch and go with a mask. So I really wanted to be ahead of the game. And I also wanted, at that time, I was planning on seeing both of my grandparents who were in assisted living. One of my grandmas is still in assisted living. So I was able to see her because I was fully vaccinated. So, Orlando International Airport is always crowded, and I kind of forgot about that. Thank goodness I have TSA pre-check, and I got that years and years ago. I'm probably gonna have to renew it soon, but it has been a lifesaver. If you have a chance to get TSA pre-check, do it. Like, it lasts you 5 years, and it's $85, I think. And yeah, you have to get fingerprinted, and you just kind of go through, I think it was just like a short little interview on like any plans of travel. It really wasn't a big deal. I did it one morning when I was still living with my parents. I was like, I know I'm gonna be traveling a lot, and I know that's something that I wanna do. I'm just gonna get TSA pre-check. They have a pop-up at our local airport. I'm gonna do it then, and I have not regretted it. It has saved me so much time, especially this flight, because I was getting to the airport a little bit later than I probably should have. Hustled through TSA pre-check, which was fabulous, because then I was able to get to my flight on time. I fly Southwest typically. I know a lot of people have beef about Southwest, but I have never had an issue with Southwest. I have flown Southwest for as long as I can remember. For any of you who remember Midwest Express, that's what we always used to fly until they were bought by Frontier. We flew Frontier for a while until I think they like started cutting where they flew, and so then we started flying Southwest, and I haven't turned back since. They tend to have really good rates. You can check two full-size bags for free, which has always saved me so much, especially when traveling, and I like happened to buy something that wouldn't fit the 2-ounce rule, and I'm just like, okay, I guess I'm checking my bag, but it's usually no big deal. And anytime, like when I'm flying home to Milwaukee or when I've flown out of Nashville, they've all been direct. Like for the short period of time where I've had to fly to Nashville for work and then fly back home, I did like kind of a piggyback ride. They all flew direct, and they were always short flights. I've never had an issue with Southwest, and I've always liked them. Their customer service is great. So I've not had a bad experience. So that's my experience. And I knew going in that they have open seating, and I knew there's a possibility for people to sit next to me, but I was hoping because it was an earlier flight, my flight like left at like 7 in the morning, that there wouldn't be too many people flying to Milwaukee at 7 in the morning on a Saturday. It was probably half capacity on this flight. I still had 2 women sit down next to me. I was in one of the first rows because I did have a boarding group, and I was just kind of like, whatever, like it is what it is. People just see a seat and they sit down. They don't like logically think, and I don't think these women were, I don't think they were really cared about anyone who sat next to them and their well-being. So no tea, no shade. But anyway, so I was closest to the window. I felt okay because I was on a bigger plane. I felt less claustrophobic because it was, and I was far enough back that I felt like I had enough like airflow and things were moving around enough. And it was short, it was only like 2 hours and 10 minutes of a flight. So it really wasn't that bad. I knew flying back that I would make the strategic decision to find someone who was already sitting at a window seat and sit in the aisle. So then I would at least respect their boundaries and have a seat in the middle of us. And then I wouldn't have to deal with having 2 people next to me. So, but you do have people walking past. That's what I did on the way back. I felt a lot better that way. Anywho, so it was fine getting in. By the time I got to Milwaukee, like no one was in Milwaukee, like as I figured. Got my bags, was with my parents, and it was great. So things to note: you do have to wear a mask in the airport, pretty much at all times unless you're actively eating or drinking, from what I gathered, and I respected that, and I tried to station myself away from people whenever I was. Flying out of Orlando, I didn't have time to, so I just got to my gate and boarded and what have you. You do have to wear your mask through the entire duration of the flight per government guidelines, and that's across the board. If there's any airlines that are doing anything differently, I don't know about it. I only flew Southwest, and that's what they were saying over the spiels, that it was government regulated, so you had to wear your mask. And they had limited service, so they only had 4 options for drinks: water, Coke, Diet Coke, and Sprite, I believe. Obviously had water, and then they had like a snack bag that they gave you. So everything, it was very limited. They weren't serving alcohol, so that's kind of the limited service that they have at this point. But still, like, that was very nice that they were able to still give you something. They could have easily been like, no, you're keeping your mask on the entire flight. So that wasn't that bad. Boarding wasn't bad. I mean, people, like, because there's the little like tower things for Southwest, and you line up, and people weren't social distancing, but it is what at that point I was just like, you know what, let's just get on the flight. Like, I don't care. I know I'm fully vaccinated. I have a mask on. I'm doing what I can. I brought wipes. I brought disposable masks in my backpack that I carried. The wipes were great. I was able to wipe like everything down when I sat down, and I'm probably gonna do that like moving forward when I fly. I brought the disposable mask in case I needed it, in case like something happened to the cloth mask I was wearing. I brought extras in case I needed them. I ended up not needing them, so that was fine. I did bring my own water bottle. I didn't end up using it, but I always bring my own water bottle just in case, to like fill up, and then I won't have to pay for water, like a water bottle. Then, yeah, and then getting in was no big deal. And getting my bags was also no big deal. So that was fine. While I was home, however, that's when the CDC came out and said people who are who are fully vaccinated can take off their masks outside and don't have to wear a mask outside, depending on certain restrictions. Like if you're at a concert or places that require you to wear a mask, you must wear a mask, but otherwise you don't have to. And soon after that time, Universal announced that you don't have to wear masks outside, and Disney announced that you don't have to wear masks outside, and that's across the board for anyone. So while I was home, all of this was coming up and all this was being announced, which then raised my anxiety. By the time I left, I was fully vaccinated, and by the time of my sister's wedding, I was fully vaccinated. I had a lot of moments where like for the wake and the funeral, I had masks on. Anything I did outside of my parents' house and my sister's house, I wore a mask, except the wedding. Because by that point, all the vendors we worked with were fully vaccinated. 90% of the people, almost probably more like 95% of the people were fully vaccinated at the wedding, except for the kids, obviously, because they can't get one. I think one of my cousins who fell into like the 13, she's 13, she was able to get her first dose. So I mean, like, they were starting but weren't fully there. So, and it was so small, it was under 100 people, it was very intimate, and it was beautiful. So that I felt safe at, and I knew everyone there, and we all were very open on where we were vaccinated wise, and pretty much everyone was vaccinated who was an adult. So it was only the kids. So then by the time I flew back, again, like, Milwaukee was busy because I was flying to Florida during a popular hour, but I wanted to spend a little more time with my family as much as I could before I went home. And by the time I got to Orlando, it was pretty quiet. And of course, getting bags at Orlando, it takes forever. But flying home, I made this strategic decision to find someone who was already sitting in a window seat and sit on the aisle to give us that space. She didn't seem to mind. I of course asked if that was taken or if I could sit there, and she said yes. So I just made the strategic decision to just sit on the edge and just give space. And I mean, anytime I've flown before COVID, that's what I've done anyway. I wouldn't sit next to someone directly unless they've said it's a full flight. I've just been courteous of giving people space, because I mean, I would want space. Like, if we don't need to fill that middle seat, we don't have to fill the middle seat. So that was fine, but it definitely got crowded. I did see a lot more people not wearing masks until board, which wasn't really following the rules, but whatever, it is what it is. So that was kind of my experience. It wasn't horrible. It's definitely going to be interesting. I'll be flying back home in July for a friend's wedding, so I'll see how things may have changed by then. Of course, I'll keep you guys updated on what I find out, but so far, so like, doesn't seem like a big deal. Still gotta wear your masks. I highly recommend bringing some wet wipes and some disposable masks with you, so in that process of traveling and getting to your destination, you are prepared and you can wipe things down and stay protected just for yourself and for your family. And I knew I was going to be around like small kids who couldn't be vaccinated, and my older grandparents that I knew, like, I just don't want to bring anything home to them. Like, I'd feel horrible if I brought something to them which made them really sick. So I just consciously try to think of that and try to consciously not bring anything to hurt and endanger anyone. So that was how I felt. Everything else that I did was pretty much how I normally travel. Nothing outside of that. If you have any questions on how I travel and things I think of and bring, leave them in the comments down below. I'd love to do another kind of Q&A with you guys to talk about different things that I pack when I travel. And I am planning, so keep in mind, I am planning to make a video when you are, like, how to pack and what to think of to pack when you are flying or traveling for a wedding, whether you're in the bridal party or not, because I learned this from my sister's wedding, and I'm gonna put this into effect for my friend's wedding because it's gonna be a lot shorter of a trip than for my sister's wedding. So if you like this video, make sure you give it a like and subscribe and hit that bell notification so you're notified every time I post a new video, which is every Thursday. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at Vanessa Adventures and on TikTok at Vanessa.adventures so you can follow along with all of my adventures in Orlando, in Central Florida, and outside. And until next time, bye guys.